Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our new Big Brother 22 All-Stars video. We have a little bit of live feed information in here, but we're going to kick it off with the big news from tonight's episode of the Disruptor power, which I have not been able to keep myself from laughing about it for the past, half an hour straight.
David. I was so excited about this. I know I'm out here cheering for David, but I really am because he is now one of the underdogs. This made me smile so much, like seeing Janelle in that star costume and seeing all those star babies make Christmas miserable for a week. I loved seeing him win that.
It's mostly just funny because David eliminated himself because he couldn't go through a challenge in the dark, and now all of a sudden he has gone from darkness into the light.
And he has gotten the power that was clearly put in there for Davon and Bayley by production.
David has risen from the ashes, and all of a sudden he is the crusader of Big Brother 21, who's probably not going to do anything that makes anyone happy with this power, but we're clinging to that tiny bit of hope at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a lot to talk about with David in this and a lot of other stuff, but before we do, if you guys do like this video, subscribe to the channel, give us a like, hit that notification bell, also support us further. We have the store, we have our Patreon where we do live chats last Sunday of every month, a whole lot of other good stuff. Alright, let's do this.
David. No, it's really cool, and this power allows him to take somebody off the block, and the crappy thing is that I don't think he's actually going to use it, and game-wise, I don't think he should use it. He is not with this big alliance. I think he knows it after everything that happened, how you blew up everybody's game. He knows he needs that power for himself, and that's why when, Tyler was asking, did you get something? He was like, no. And I couldn't believe he didn't tell Tyler, because Tyler was sort of his go-to guy. And the fact that he didn't tell him tells me that David's going to hold on to this power because he knows he needs it, and he does.
I'm going to throw something out there now that all of a sudden is really interesting. We talked about this, maybe it was earlier today, I have no semblance of time anymore, but that David went to Ian and wanted to sort of propose working together, and Ian kind of waffled at it. I really am wondering now if David was sort of I'm sensing that Ian is sort of on the outside and I want to tell my power to somebody, and now Ian doesn't get to know that, and if Ian had went and told other people, David's entire situation could be different right now.
Yeah, they could be flushing his power out, so I personally think that David made the right decision not telling Ian, not telling Tyler, not telling anybody, because David has some work to do on relationships. I know that trading information power can help, but it just depends on who he's doing it with, and right now there are no real allies out there for him except maybe Kevin a little bit, but Kevin can't keep his mouth shut.
The thing is with this power is at the end of the episode when they had that diary room from David, it made it seem like he was still able to technically play it. The rules weren't altogether clear. It's just after nomination, so I don't know if it expires before the veto ceremony, after I don't know all the components of this and how it fully works, but like you said, there's no reason for David to use it when he's on the outside. He's in danger. There's 2 more weeks that this is active. I don't think you can really put yourself in a position to burn it now, unfortunately.
No, I mean, of course I want to see him save Davon or Bayley.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. And in that way, to have that sort of extra ally that's still in the game, because he can later secretly, whoever he saves, let them know that he did, and then there's more opportunities going to the next week to win next HOH or Veto or anything. But it's a chance. Yeah. This is still 2 more full weeks now that David gets to stay in the game.
And I will say on a personal level, it is really, really crummy in a lot of ways that things shake out like this, because we saw how much Bayley really wanted to fight to keep David in the game. Bayley and Davon both wanted to fight to keep David in the game back in week 2, and now we're in this position where the tables are turned, and ultimately, it is it is a game, and the question that I wish we had an answer to, and we don't because, spoiler alert, Christmas won the power of veto, is, let's say Bayley won the veto and somebody else would go up in her place. Would David then use the power to save Davon? Because then Bayley and Davon could both be safe, but then David would be vulnerable potentially to going up himself.
But he would be in a much better position because then if he was able to sort of help with that, the three of them could have a little more power together moving forward in the game, and all of them could be saved moving forward. But I think with this situation, the way that it is, without one of them having that veto and coming off the block, unless they come up with a really good strategy of, I'm laughing here because I know it's not happening, a really good strategy to go to Christmas and try to get her to put up someone else, it just isn't worth it for David to do that. He would be making the wrong choice, but the right choice for everybody else watching.
The only reason I'm still laughing about this is because now we are at the point in Big Brother 22 where so many of our hopes for unpredictability now lie to David, you have no credit with me, Alexander, a guy who has just mostly driven all of us collectively insane for the past month.
And now here I am cheering his name
I know.
because he is one of the few underdogs that are left that has any kind of bit of power. And yeah, I can't believe that I'm here, but this is where we are.
This is basically, it is the equivalent of, let's say you're like watching a football game and the two starting quarterbacks get hurt, and then you've got like the third stringer who's come in, and maybe he is like, I don't know, like 4 feet tall, and he's going to get crushed by all the other players, but you want to believe in your heart that they're going to win the game.
I feel like David is still driving the clown car, and he stopped it in front of our house.
We have gotten in, and we're just like in the back, like honking our noses and like pieing each other in the face.
That's right.
It's like, David, you're gonna do something. David's gonna screw this up in like a week or so.
I really hope he doesn't. The fact that he didn't even tell Tyler, I think that is a good sign that maybe he knows that he needs to sit on this.
I liked David's perception of things a lot in Big Brother 20. Like, if he can figure this out, and if he's done a good job, like you said, not telling anyone, maybe we will be praising David in a non-ironic way within a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode, other than that, which still is hilarious, there's a lot of, like, they really sort of hyped up that there was all this tension and fighting and all this stuff with Bayley and Danny and everything else on the feeds, and I don't know if a lot of it didn't make the show or whatever else, but it really didn't feel like all that extreme watching it.
No, it really didn't. It just looked like Danny and Bayley had a conversation about what was going on, and then Enzo came into the room and confirmed that people have been talking about Danny saying that she was going to throw them under the bus or try to get them up on the block or whatever. For whatever reason, we are now in this situation that Tyler has tried to do some sort of damage control. They kind of don't believe him, even though he is saying a lot of the right things. Like, I'm the one that came to you with this information because I was trying to do you a solid and we're in an alliance together. And I would choose you guys over Danny, and that's why I told you. All of that is the right stuff to say.
Yeah, I think all of that was the right stuff to say for Tyler in that moment. I think Tyler, in general, he has shown some element of loyalty to them. I think the problem is he's also shown an element of loyalty, as per usual, to 1,000 other people in the house.
Yep.
And Bayley's got enough scars from Big Brother 20 to know that Tyler will screw people over.
Yeah, and I think because she knows that, she can trust Tyler to a certain extent. She knows that there's a limit.
Yeah, and I think that's just where some of this boils over. But I loved Enzo being like I don't want to get involved, yo. I don't want to get in. He's like walking. He's like, Enzo, you just got involved. I don't know how you can say this.
Yeah, you can't just drop that. Oh, yeah, it's true, but I don't want to be involved. I'll see you later, guys.
Yeah.
You don't want to be involved, but you are.
Yeah, this is like, to continue the pie in the face metaphor here. Enzo just pied Danny in the face and was like, I didn't pie anybody in the face, and just walks out of the room.
That's right.
Well, Enzo at least is bringing us some element of entertainment, I guess.
It's nice to come on here and actually be laughing and smiling instead of being like, every single video.
I do love the humor of, I know somebody asked why I talk about Christmas wearing the HOH robe, but it is bad juju to wear the HOH robe. It shows that you think you're better than everybody else. You don't do it. It is too much.
When they first showed Christmas in the HOH robe downstairs announcing the BB basement, I hadn't seen that everyone else was in their pajamas. I was just like, really, Christmas? This is the mood. You're gonna come down and announce this in your robe?
Hey,
and then
peasants!
Yeah, exactly. And then I saw everybody else was, had their face masks on. They're in their pajamas. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, I will never play Big Brother, but if I do, and if I am HOH, I am taking the robe in the backyard, I'm putting it on the backyard, and I'm turning that backyard on. That is what's happening to that robe.
Oh, I would wear it all over the house.
Enjoy your 1 week before the nomination ceremony.
Yeah.
It was like, I think it was Zach Rance was the most notorious HOH. He was like co-HOH. He wasn't even full HOH.
Yeah.
See, the only other, there's so much unintentional comedy in this episode.
Yep.
I even love Davon calling out I wrote down Xmas in the notes now. See, now I'm going to call her that. But no, Davon called out Christmas in the middle of, that doesn't happen very often.
No, and I like that she did, to basically be like, I'm on the block because of somebody else's decision. Like, what did I do? She's the one who said that I'm, her ride or die. I didn't say that about her. I haven't said anything. Like, why am I sitting here?
It was a really, I like the move. I love Davon in general, so I'm always going to be happy when she does something like this. And I'm bummed for saying it because I'm not like rooting for Bayley to go, but I'm rooting for Davon to stay because I just want to watch her a little bit longer. Let's get to briefly a couple of live feed things. There's not a ton that's breaking, but Davon and Bayley just mentioned earlier that they needed to come together and find some sort of a plan. They got to figure something out here.
Yeah, that they still have an opportunity until tomorrow when the veto is played. They still have a chance to come up with something, either something that's true about someone else or some beautiful, fantastic lie that can really stick on someone else and bring that to Christmas and really sell why it is a good idea to backdoor anybody but Tyler. And for some reason, this is the person that they brought. And it again plays into this whole thing that Christmas has done very well this season in not looking like she is aligned with anybody.
She's said on the feeds that Tyler is her final two, which we can get into whether or not it's a good idea to go to the final two with Tyler, but regardless, that, and then you see Bayley and Davon have this plan. It's not a good plan, but, kudos to them for having a plan that they want to try to get a group effort, like get a bunch of people together. They can all go up there. Can you get Danny, Nicole, maybe David? And they all sort of suggest Tyler, because then maybe you can peer pressure Christmas into making a move. The problem is Nicole and Danny are not going to want to do this, and they're just going to get really annoyed, and Nicole's going to go in some monologue about how scared it made her, the idea of going up there collectively and saying this.
I don't think they need to go up there as like a huge group to be like, oh man, you really got to do this. I think the problem is there isn't enough time, but if there was enough time, that if there was enough people that were having sort of one-on-ones with Christmas, that might be enough that she's kind of like, why are all these people coming to me? Especially someone like Danny, because Danny is someone she is very close to. So maybe that could have worked, but Christmas doesn't like it when people are pressuring her too much. So I just don't know. It just sucks because the person they've chosen is Tyler, and I get why they have a good argument for it, but that's their final two.
It's not gonna happen. The only, and this is far-fetched as well, but it's the only other idea that I have is that I feel like Enzo is already kind of subtly throwing Kevin under the bus. That shows you how much Enzo cares about. Maybe Enzo hated the name the Tickle Monster so much from his alliance with Kevin and Christmas that he's trying to get rid of it now.
Yeah, Enzo is in the Tickle Monsters. He has also told Kevin, they've shook on it, that they won't put each other on the block.
Yeah.
So Enzo has a couple of things going with Kevin, so him up there and throwing him under the bus is amusing.
Like, I think Enzo is all, Kevin may have a power, like this is Enzo's new sort of thing, and if you could sort of pick up on this, if you're Bayley and Dave on, and be like, Kevin's got a power, we need to get Kevin up there.
Yes.
Maybe that could work. Probably not, but it's better than Tyler.
Yeah, it's possible. The problem is that Christmas really wants to break these two up, and she's not going to listen to anyone. She didn't even listen to Tyler when Tyler was trying to get her to throw Danny up there. She is doing her own thing. Everyone that was thinking that she could be influenced by Cody, this is going to be Cody's HOH, this is going to be Tyler's HOH. It really isn't. Christmas has HOH-itis. This is her HOH. And she's going to do what she wants to do, even though no one's really that happy with it.
Once again, before we go, let's remind everyone that Christmas's source of HOH-itis is a competition that she literally had to do nothing in order to win.
It's true.
All right, we'll tie this up. Are you getting into the clown car with Jess and I as being driven by David with this power? Are you... I promise I'm not laughing at you, David. I don't know if you're laughing, but we're laughing. All right, let us know what you thought about this episode in the comments. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, support us further. Check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.